So, I'm non-binary.
What does that mean?
And more importantly, why is this in the game? The culture war.
Ist ein Model und sie sieht gut aus. Ich nehm sie heute gerne mit zu mir nach Haus. Doch vor der Kamera, da zeigt sie, was sie kann.
Assassin's Creed Shadows. This game has generated an unfathomable amount of rage content, probably the most we've seen in recent years by any game. It was mired in controversy after controversy. I'm sure you heard several of these already. How Yasuke was chosen to be a protagonist despite going against Assassin's Creed conventions of not using historical figures as protagonists. Or how the game is inaccurate on Japanese history, architecture, and the period in general. But I'm not here to list all of that to you. Rather, let's take a look at the bigger picture, because it really does feel like Ubisoft is at a make or break moment with this game. The company has been releasing lackluster titles one after another, such as Skull and Bones or Star Wars Outlaws. Their shares also lost 80% of their value during the past 5 years. Considering all of that, Ubisoft desperately needs a win. And from what we've seen so far, the game has been performing okay. It does not seem like a huge flop despite what its detractors hoped for, but considering Ubisoft's situation, it's definitely not the Hail Mary that would get them out of the ditch either. Is this going to be the final nail in Ubisoft's coffin and the last Assassin's Creed game we see for a long time, possibly ever? Well, with how Ubisoft has been doing financially, that might be the case. But how did this happen? Well, you see, Ubisoft and Shadows is the perfect case study of a studio being completely tone deaf and deciding to double down on the worst possible points. They gave so much ammunition to the rage bait content machine that it was staggering. This game is potentially the biggest battlefield of the video game culture war we've seen so far. I wonder, were there more people wanting this game to fail than wanting to play it? Potentially, yes. But when a game occupies this unfortunate spot, meaning it becomes a battlefield for the culture war, the drama and noise around it makes it difficult to assess it fairly. Let me elaborate. The game that previously occupied the spot that Assassin's Creed Shadows is currently in was probably Dragon Age the Veilguard. This is a game and franchise that I have plenty of personal experience with, unlike Assassin's Creed. Link to my review of Veilguard in the description, by the way. Was Veilguard Vogue? Oh yes, very much. Was it a bad game, objectively speaking? Well, I said it was around a 6 out of 10 if you treated it as if it were in a vacuum with no expectations. However, the game became a punching bag, with many people giving it terrible reviews and hating on it due to its Vogue elements, while paying no attention to its true flaws, such as its bad dialogue and disastrous level design. You know how some game developers like to complain about right-wing chuds and toxic gamers? Well, these 1 out of 10 review bombings are not helping the image. Note that I'm not trying to defend these games. I acknowledge that you have the right to dislike and not play any game you want for whatever reason. It's your time and your money. If any hint of potential wokeness makes a game a no-go for you, then that's your decision. But it feels like we got to a point where the tiniest thing is enough to get a game labeled woke slop. We saw this with Alan Wake 2, for example, since you play half of the game as the FBI agent who was sent to investigate Alan Wake's case. And as it was revealed in the first trailer, this agent is a black woman. You can guess what ensued. The game is superb, by the way. But Uncle, you're cherry-picking. Yes, that's exactly the point. While I can say that a good majority of things that get labeled as Vogue are indeed slop, I don't want great games getting dragged down with them. I've heard many people who criticize Vulcan's preface or accentuate their arguments saying that games can deal with any topics as long as the execution is great, or that characters can be of any race, gender, or background as long as they are written well, feel natural, and fit the game without any overt or forced messaging attached to them. Which is very much true, but these people sure are eager to jump the gun first chance they get. At the same time, games like Cyberpunk 2077 or Baldur's Gate 3 also showed that you can have things in the game that would normally be labeled as woke and still have an amazing experience. These games respect you as a player and give you the choice about how you engage with these bits, or if you engage with them at all. They are not preachy and are executed amazingly well. For most people, wokeness does not ruin an otherwise great game. They wouldn't even call it woke if they went into it blind. But once the drama is started, the preconceptions that the label brings with it might actually make them not even check it out. Another aspect of this that's been getting the most out of hand in my opinion is the complaint about the uglification of female characters and pushing for Eastern-style gorgeous character models in every game. Again, I'm not knocking games like Stellar Blade or Nier Automata for having these types of characters. And I'm not saying uglification doesn't happen, it certainly does, but the complaints have reached unreasonable levels in my opinion. How the characters in the Silent Hill 2 remake were supposedly uglified, for example. Or the recent Witcher 4 trailer where people were screeching about Ciri being ugly. I swear, it's like nowadays if a female character isn't complete gooner bait, then she gets labeled as uglified and woke. And I know some people meme about how awesome it would be to have only bimbo characters, but I can't say that. What are you wearing? No, you're not illustrating the point and I wasn't rambling. Yeah, go change. So, I can say that the overall developments have been positive. Gamers in general are winning. The slop is flopping and Ubisoft is Ubisofting. But the whole tone of this shift does make me a bit wary and cautious though. I'm more of a narrative-oriented gamer and our type is more at the mercy of these trends than others. It's harder to make a game woke that is solely focused on gameplay, for example. But enough of that, I don't want them to perceive this as a challenge. Thanks for hearing out my concerns and thanks for watching. Yes, I was rambling. Thank you.